समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
The Tejas Mk1A delay story is now about credibility, not just delivery. The Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, that is the HAL's new chairman and managing director Ravi Kota, known within the aerospace community as the LCA man, has prioritized the delivery of the Tejas Mk1A to the Indian Air Force as the company's top objective. However, the delivery is now likely to miss even the June-July timeline estimated by ThePrint earlier. The delay comes despite the IAF agreeing to grant multiple concessions to HAL, but the force has also drawn very clear red lines on what it will and will not accept before inducting the fighter aircraft. Those red lines relate directly to the aircraft's combat capability, especially missile firing functionality and the performance of its electronic warfare systems, that is, the EW systems. However, the IF will not accept an aircraft which cannot be used in conflict if it happens a few months after induction. According to sources, the IF is willing to accept temporary workarounds and compromises in areas linked to, let's say, the pilot convenience and ease of operation if that helps accelerate the delivery timelines. For example, if the contract said that a certain aspect of flying will be automated, but the IF is now told it will take more time and the pilot will have to operate it manually for now, the force is willing to compromise on it, a source explained. Some of those pending works may only be completed a year from now. The fresh concessions are expanded version of the exemptions earlier decided between the IF and the Defense Ministry in February, as reported by ThePrint then. While HAL has consistently cited delays in engine deliveries as a principal reason behind the slippages, I had reported on multiple occasions that the problems run much deeper and that the engine issue is merely become the most visible explanation, masking wider integration and systems related delays. The continuing delays in the delivery of the HAL Tejas Mk1A are no longer just about missed timelines or delayed engines. What is now emerging is a far more serious issue: the inability of India's HAL and the ADA to transition from prototype successes to reliable operational delivery. The significance of the latest development lies not merely in the delay itself, but in the fact that the Indian Air Force is now willing to dilute certain contractual requirements just to get the aircraft inducted faster. That is an extraordinary position for a military force to take. But even within this compromise, the IF has drawn the hard red lines. The distinction is crucial. Modern fighter aircraft are not just flying platforms, they're network combat systems. An aircraft whose radar is not fully integrated with its weapon firing controls or whose EW suite is incomplete is not merely unfinished. It risks becoming operationally unreliable in combat. This also explains why the IAF has categorized pending deficiencies into the minor, major, and unacceptable buckets. The force appears willing to accept temporary shortcomings linked to automation, cockpit convenience, or non essential software maturity. What makes the situation more troubling is that the engine delay explanation is now emerging as the convenient umbrella under which multiple integration and system failures were hidden. For months, the public narrative around Tejas Mk1A delays revolved primarily around delayed engine deliveries from GE Aerospace. While engine supply chain problems are real, crucial integration work involving the Israeli radar, weapon firing controls, and the indigenous EW suite remains incomplete. That fundamentally changes the nature of the problem. An engine delay is a supply chain issue. Incomplete systems integration reflects deeper structural weaknesses in program management, testing, and certification. India's defense public sector has historically performed well in licensed manufacturing, but has struggled when programs move into far more complex domain of system integration and scalable production. Designing a prototype aircraft and building dozens of combat-ready fighters on schedule are entirely different challenges. The Tejas program itself remains strategically important. It has created a domestic aerospace ecosystem generated design capability, and reduced long term dependence on imports. The aircraft's operational performance in several parameters has always been positively assessed by the IAF pilots over the years. But the Mark 1A delays underline a harsh reality. Credibility in defense manufacturing is built not on announcement but on predictable delivery. The repeated revisions of timelines under the previous HL leadership has also damaged the institutional trust. Within sections of the defense establishment, there is now a growing skepticism about whether the optimistic public projections were driven more by market signaling and stock price considerations rather than by realistic program assessments. That erosion of trust matters because India is simultaneously betting heavily on future indigenous programs, from the HL, that is the Tejas Mk1A, to the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, that is AMCA. If the Tejas Mk1A, an aircraft derived from an already operational platform, struggles to meet delivery and integration milestones, questions will inevitably arise about India's ability to execute even more technologically ambitious programs on schedule. The appointment of Ravi Kota may therefore prove significant. Unlike many corporate managers, Kota comes from deep within the light combat aircraft ecosystem and understands the program at a technical level. His challenge will not be merely to deliver a fewer aircraft quickly, but to restore confidence between HAL and the IF and the wider defense establishment. Because ultimately, the issue is no longer just about one delayed fighter. It is about whether India's indigenous defense manufacturing ecosystem can consistently deliver combat ready systems at the pace demanded by an increasingly volatile security. For the print, this is Snehesh Alex Philip. Do subscribe to our print's YouTube channel for more such videos.